in 2013, what are the frustrations for you as you walk down the street?
Unfortunately, there's a whole mixed bag of them. It's very difficult when you are a person who is blind or partially sighted, because a lot of people, firstly, if they don't recognize that you have a sight loss, they just ignore you or they don't negotiate around you. So that's the first thing. It's a lot of awareness that people need in terms of if you're carrying a long cane or a symbol cane. I think guide dogs are pretty much apparent that you have sight loss, and it's very much a social thing. People tend to stop and talk to you. So as a guide dog owner, that is in fact one of the things that I find quite difficult, is people don't ask permission to stroke the dog while you're walking, so it distracts you. So that's the first thing. But if we are looking at the built-up environment, which is what Mayor Gupta experienced yesterday, there are things that are good about it and there are things that are bad about it. The first thing is that there are places where the planning building regulations have been adhered to, so you've got things like tactiles, the bobbles on the drop curbs, or where they've got them across the pavement to indicate to you where you're going to approach a crossing that you can safely cross at, or they have the beep, the audible beep on the crossing as a controlled crossing, or maybe the little cone that turns underneath it, which is used for people who can't hear that audible beep. So those are the good parts about it. But there is unfortunately an awful lot of street clutter out there. Things, for example, like broken, cracked pavements, and those can be created by trees growing with the roots, or in a lot of cases it could be people parking on pavements. Some people park so far on the pavement that you just can't get past. And that's obviously not a problem for me as a guide dog owner, but it's also for people who are using long canes, for mums and dads with children in buggies, and of course people with mobility scooters or wheelchairs. So that's part of the obstacles that are difficult to negotiate. You also have, coming spring now, overhanging boughs, people who planted beautiful roses, but they rip you awfully hard when you walk into them if they're overhanging over a fence, and wheelie bins and all sorts of other bits and pieces that are left on the pavement. My guide dog is a Labrador cross golden retriever, and unfortunately, dogs being dogs, she has a Labrador stomach, and people who drop a lot of hamburger patties or leftover chip packets on the curb, on the pavement, for me that's also a nightmare, because it does distract my dog, because sometimes she wants to try and go for it, and I do have to constantly remind her that she's working to avoid it. So it's a whole mixed bag of different things that we put into a category of street clutter.
Sue, thank you very much.
Thank you.